Hi, this is Evangelist Anita Moore with a Fast Break Friday Word. It is out of Revelation 2, 8 through 11, and it is on the church of Smyrna. I'd like to read it to you real quick first before we get into the meat of the matter. 8, to the angel of the church in Smyrna, the first and the last, who was dead and came to life, saying these things: I know your works and tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Do not fear any of those things which you are about to suffer. Look, the devil's about to throw you, some of you, into prison, that you may be tried, and you will have tribulation for 10 days. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. He who hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the church. He who overcomes shall not be hurt by the second death. So there it is, Revelation 2, 8 through 11. And basically, we've all been through tough times. Some days it seems like a pile of stuff is happening all at once, whether it be the car breaking down, kids getting sick, just multiple things. Smyrna had seen that they had more than enough of their own woes. In fact, it seemed that the church suffered greatly. Still, they had to somehow survive and get through those very multiple moments of suffering and misery and poverty that they so much had. God knows our troubles, and that's the point of today's message. Will you hang on like Smyrna did? I hope so. Smyrna is the only church that is still present even to this day, which is amazing. This alone stands as a sign of resilience. Smyrna was also landlocked with a harbor on one side. The buildings and the temples circled a hill called Pagos. It was also called the crown of Smyrna. And of course, Smyrna actually means myrrh, and that was one of the things that they did trade, was myrrh. Smyrna also proved to be a great fidelity to Rome, as well as have numerous population of Jews in Smyrna. Many stood tall in the face of adversity, knowing that Jesus knew they had trouble. And that's where we begin with our 3 points. Point 1, Jesus knows your every trouble. That's verses 9 and 10. I know your work in tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan. Do not fear any of those which you are about to suffer. Look, the devil's about to throw some of you in prison, that you may be tried, and that you have tribulation for 10 days. So that's as far as I'm going to read there. So they had poverty, prison, and death. 2, Jesus tells us not to fear, and I'll repeat 10a again. Do not fear any of those things which you are about to suffer. Jesus tells us not to fear, and that's not the only place he tells us not to fear. There's a scripture that says perfect love casts out all fear. And let me tell you, I used to have a fear of bridges and heights that was terrible. And going over the Lexington Bridge, coming to visit my sister in Tennessee, I would repeat perfect love casts out all fear as I went over the bridge. And I know it sounds silly, but I hung on that word, and that's what we're supposed to do when we're in fear, because perfect love does cast out fear. The third thing is Jesus encourages us to be faithful even unto the end, which is verse 10b. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. There's a promise, right? You get a crown of life. So we need to be faithful in our walk even unto death. No matter what happens, we need to hang in there, just like Smyrna did, even in the face of Rome and their culture, even against the Jews and their Pharisaical culture. Smyrna has held on throughout time and history. It's the only church, again, that still survives. So again, let's go over it. 1, Jesus knows our troubles and our trials, our problems and our tribulation. 2, don't fear, because Jesus is with us, and perfect love casts out all fear. And finally, continue in faith until the very end, because there is a crown of life waiting for us. There is a promise. Thank you again. Have a blessed weekend. And until next Friday, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.